Lovely. I think that's it. Can't see any more people joining us in. So good morning, everyone. I'm here today with lovely Hannah from Red January. She's going to be presenting today as our first speaker. Hannah, would you like to say a few words?
Absolutely. Thank you all for joining us on this sunny Thursday morning. I'm really excited to share the Red Journey with you so far. I imagine a lot of you out there, hopefully, have already heard about Red January, but it's a great opportunity to share how far we've come. And also, more excitingly, share the campaign for this year as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Lovely. So let us begin. We'll start sharing my screen with you. Lovely. Is that all right for everybody? Yeah, okay. So welcome. This is our first East of England Mental Health Conference for Sport and Physical Activity, led by Heart Sports Partnership. My name is Alicia Pollack. I'm a Health Project Officer, leading this specific program, which is Mind East of England Regional Network Hub, which this event is being delivered as part of. So just to begin, a little bit of housekeeping. So if we could please ask you to stay muted at all times, unless the speaker asks you to unmute and participate. Please keep your video off as well. This meeting is being recorded. And questions for our guests, if you could leave those in the chat box, that would be amazing. We'll go through them at the end of the session. There will be time for some Q&A. So please feel free to drop them in. We'll monitor that throughout and then pick the questions and ask Hannah. Also, just to let you know, some of the content today may be sensitive and you might find it triggering. So please feel free to take time out if you need to. And please let us know if you're doing all right. You can message me privately through Zoom if you need any help. And support available. If there's anyone you would like to talk to, here you can see 3 helplines that are available to you. So I'll just leave that on here for a second if anyone would like to take a photo or a screenshot. Okay, so just to briefly introduce the East of England Mind Regional Network Hub. It has been funded by Sport England through Mind. The program will continue until end of March 2021. As a part of the program, we aim to bring together sport, physical activity and mental health organizations in the East of England region to share best practice, updates, also to increase the collaboration and partnership working across the region. And also worth mentioning, we are working very closely with the 5 active partnerships in the region, which are Active Essex, Living Sport, Team Beds in Luton, Active Suffolk and Active Norfolk. So if there's anything you would like to discuss, you can also go directly to our partners in your area and they will be able to assist you with your inquiry. And just here, my contact details quickly, if anyone would like to get in touch about the work that we do. So I'm just going to leave that here for you for a second. Okay, and now we're going to move on to Hannah's presentation. So I'm going to put myself on mute and over to Hannah.
Thank you so much for that. It's such an honour to join you all this morning. As I said earlier, really to share the Red Journey so far. So I founded Red January 5 years ago. I was inspired by my mum, who suffers with severe depression, and she went through a really low period. She'd been signed off work at the time. She'd been pretty much bedbound, curtains were closed, and I felt really helpless. I didn't really know what to do to help her during that time. rightly or wrongly, I actually signed us up to a walking marathon, which I'm sure for some of you out there might seem a bit out there, given that my mum, bless her, is in bed, feeling like she hasn't really got anything to motivate her out of the door every morning. But that was really the reason why I did it, to give her a focus, to give her a goal, and to give her a real sense of purpose back as well. So slowly but surely, my mum started putting one foot in front of the other. And it was amazing to see the improvement in her mood, in her energy levels. Within a few months, my mum was back at work. Obviously, as we all know here, it hasn't cured her depression by any means, but it's certainly given her this almost like a toolkit of things that she can now do to manage her well-being on a day-to-day basis. One of those things being walking with our dogs. With it being my mum, we're incredibly close, and I was moved and inspired by the journey that she went on. Also, we were training for the marathon, the walking marathon, during the winter time. And I'd always felt incredibly strongly that whether you have a mental health condition or not, we all need something to boost us, to get us out there. I know certainly this morning when I went out for a run, it's getting definitely a bit crisper in the morning, which is beautiful. But you do find when obviously it's getting colder and a bit darker, you need that extra thing to get you out of bed every morning. So that was a massive factor in really why Red January is here. So obviously the inspiration of my mum, the point around winter, but also January. I'd never heard anyone say that they look forward to January. You tend to be skint. You've just spent a crap load at Christmas. You've also been around a lot of people at Christmas, whether you like it or not. So you tend to start January perhaps feeling a little bit isolated. It's also a time of year when you tend to naturally set goals anyway. So the idea for Red January was born, and that's to get active every day in January to beat the blues away, so to support your mental health. So as I said, I founded that 5 years ago, and was really growing it alongside my full-time job at the time. My background's in marketing, and it was amazing to see the appetite that people had to want to kickstart their new year in a really positive way. It's grown very organically over the past 5 years. And to date, we've had around 150,000 people join us year on year to get active in a way that works for them. Alongside that, given the nature of what Red January is, so we're asking people to get active for 31 days, we recognise that obviously that's quite a big challenge for a lot of people. So as part of Red January, there's also the option to raise money. We, for the past 3 years, have been in an exclusive charity partnership with Mind. And during that time, the Red community raised an incredible £2.7 million to continue their work. Not just with National Mind, but with local minds too. So we work with a network of around 30 local minds, again, really wanting to support their work on the ground. That's where our Redders are. So it's been amazing to see that much money has come through to go back into mental health services, ultimately supporting the Red community and their loved ones, which has been amazing to see that virtuous cycle that's been taking place there. Also, amazingly, this year we had more people getting active every single day in January than took part in the London Marathon last year. I remember reading that quote based on the University of Oxford research that we've done just recently, which I'll go on and share a bit more detail around, and just being blown away by the efforts of that amazing community who really want to do something not just for themselves, but for others too. We can go on to the next slide. Thank you. So I've obviously given you, we can go on to the next slide now. Thank you. There we go, perfect. So I've obviously given you a description about what Red January is, but for us, we feel incredibly passionately that Red January isn't this 1 month novelty challenge. We get that actually when you come to Red January, it might seem like, oh, it's just another 1 month challenge where we're getting people active, but we feel incredibly passionately, as I said, that we help people support and lay the foundations for a longer term physical activity habit. I share that with you just because really for us at Red, the motivation and the thing that kind of we want to bring into people's lives is that they start bringing movement into their day-to-day lives in a way that works for them. We call it the daily doable activity. So it's really, as I described earlier, it's whatever works for you as an individual. it's a personal challenge. So whether that be you walk to your local shops, you use it as an opportunity to get out of bed every day, you use it to train for the London Marathon or train for another event, couch to 5K, learning to swim. We've had so many different activities that the community have been taking part in, which has been amazing to see how much they've embraced this idea and really made it their own. We also encourage people to populate a 31-day calendar with the different activities that they would enjoy doing. I'll go and share a bit more detail around that, because I think for you as organisations, there could be something really interesting in actually shining a light on your incredible work through that calendar and giving people an opportunity to be engaging with your work day in, day out, and actually the free, affordable and practical things that they can be doing in their local area. As I said, I'll come in and share a bit more around that a little later. Red January as well, obviously, we can't avoid not mentioning, obviously, the past few months. For us, we feel, again, incredibly passionate that actually we've got something here that people can engage with, even if for the next few months we do go back into a lockdown situation. So really, given the fun, inclusive nature of Red January, you can still get active even if certain restrictions are in place. So indoor activity we encourage, and again, still things that work for you as well. We can move on to the next slide. So the Red community, I actually, looking at this slide, I tend to get a little bit emotional. It's amazing to see the diversity of people that join us. On the most part, year on year, it's predominantly females. So we tend to have around 83% of females join us, aged between 25 to 54. But we also have a number of schools join us, universities, colleges, organisations, workplaces, different sports groups as well. So it's been amazing to see people really coming together and joining fitness forces and being united with that common goal of getting active every single day. You might also notice in there as well, there's a few familiar faces. So Fern Cotton has joined us, Dame Kelly Holmes, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, Matt Johnson. So again, it's been amazing to see people like them, spokespeople for physical and mental health, joining very organically, joining Red January and embracing it. So we've even had Dame Kelly Holmes's dad join us year on year as well, which has been amazing to see that it is very much a kind of a family affair and people are getting involved and inviting their friends and family to get involved as well. We can go into the next slide. So wanted to share with you, I guess, a few stats around what's been achieved so far, a little bit more about Redders and who they are, but also share a little bit of the insight that we've received from the University of Oxford. So I'll let you read through some of this, and obviously we can share with you the presentation after. But I think I just wanted to touch upon here the work that we have done with the University of Oxford. So some professors at the university took part in Red January during 2019. They loved the initiative so much and they got so much out of it that they approached us and said, look, we'd love to do some work with you, especially around your kind of your well-being objectives and the behaviour change aspect of the work that you're doing. Obviously, we absolutely jumped at the chance to have them involved, especially from a research perspective. As we all know, data is key with things like that. And the more we know about our community and their habits, the more we can help support them on this journey. Sharing here just a few of the key insights that have come from this year's Red January. So these have come from pre and post January surveys. And we also did some focus groups as well. So as you can see here, so more than 50% of Redders believe they experience less stress and reduced signs of depressive symptoms compared to the weeks before January. Over 15,000 participants progressed from being inactive to fairly active, and almost 35,000 participants moved from being fairly active to active. It's amazing to see the impact that Red January is having on individuals, both in terms of obviously supporting their mood, their energy levels, depressive symptoms, and also in terms of their habits, the habits that they're forming with activity, the fact that they are getting more active. It's important to note as well, we do recognise, obviously it's through a month period, But if we go on to the next slide, I'll share a bit more with you around what we're doing throughout the rest of the year as well to help people continue the healthy habits that they're clearly forming in January. So we can go on to the next slide. Thank you. We rightly always get asked, okay, that's all great, well, what happens on the 1st of February? It's not a case that we don't kind of wave people goodbye and say, okay, we'll see you next January. We very recently have formed Red Together. So it's actually this year more than ever has been a really powerful tool in uniting Redders, so the Red community, giving them a space to again support and motivate each other. But Red Together in essence really helps continue that conversation for that Red community and gives them their own goal and focus, but in a way where they don't feel like they're on their own with it. It's been amazing to see that community come together during this time. And we know from the surveys that we've done during Red January that over 70% of that community wanted something like a Red Together. They've started to lay the foundation of a healthy habit, but they feel like they do need the support and motivation to continue that. So that's where we come in. So how that works at the moment for us is we have some weekly social posts. Those social posts are very much in terms of content, are very much about inviting a conversation, understanding what our community are up to, how they're getting active, sharing some tools and tips and inspiration to their fellow Redders. It also involves some monthly e-newsletters. So these are seasonal throughout the year. So we work with the likes of Swim England and things like that, different organisations throughout the year, really to continue providing that Red community with the tools that they need to keep active. The focus is absolutely always on making sure that whatever we share is free, affordable, practical, and realistic as well. We recognise that we're all very busy people, and incorporating activity into your life isn't always that easy or isn't always that convenient. So we look to work with organisations throughout the year that can help continue the Red community's efforts. Year round, we also have events and talks and interviews. So we've been on numerous podcasts, we've done media interviews, and we're out there in the space of events and things like that, trying to engage, re-engage and support that Red community as they continue throughout the year. It's also an incredible opportunity for us to meet Redders in person. Obviously that hasn't been the case for the past few months, but we are looking at things that we can do on a much more virtual level so people still feel that they've got that face-to-face interaction that's also important, especially now. And we can go on to the next slide. Thank you. Cheers. So hopefully that has tickled your taste buds and you're like, okay, how do we get involved? So this is the next section of the presentation. So it's really sharing with you the ways that we would love to work together with you. So if we go on to the next slide. So hopefully that's shown you that Red January provides a compelling and proven reason for people to get active. We've had a 5-year running start at really understanding the Red community's needs. We have evolved the campaign and we've got to a point now where we feel really confident in the assets that we've got, the resources that we've got. And also, as I described earlier, really understanding our audience and their needs. That's what we're here to do, isn't it? And actually throughout the past few months, it's been amazing to continue nurturing that community, especially now understanding what they need from us during this incredibly intense and unique period. Now more than ever, people are going to want to start their 2021 in a positive way, especially off the back of this year. So we hope that we've got something here where it provides people with an activation, a campaign that will help support your network of users, your members, through the participation in Red January. Provide them with something that is going to allow them to kickstart their new year in a really positive way. And I'll go on and share a bit more details around how that could work. Also, it's an opportunity for you to use the campaign as a more direct activation. So really working with your team, understanding your objectives around wellbeing and things like that. How can the Red January campaign help you meet those goals? And again, I'll go on and give you a bit of an example of how that's worked for an organisation that supported us earlier on this year as well. It's also proven to be an incredible workplace wellbeing initiative as well. So I'll share a bit of detail around how you can energise your employees and get them to be a part of the Red community, supporting themselves as well. We can go on to the next slide. So support your service users members through the participation in Red January. So Red January is completely free to register. It's inclusive. The nature of what Red January is, it's fun, it's flexible. You choose the activity that works for you, and we'll be there to support you through that journey. It's also, as we've seen from the University of Oxford results, it helps people start, rekindle or continue their efforts to keep active. So really we're joining people at different points in their journey, but Red January has proven that it can help you at whatever point in your journey you're at. As I described earlier as well, we do find that people populate that 31-day calendar. It provides a really useful tool actually to give people a real goal and a focus. So there could be an opportunity with you and your organisation to populate one of those calendars, share it out there with your community of customers and service users, and share and shine a light on the work that you're doing. So that's one opportunity and one kind of piece of food for thought that we thought you might want to be engaged with as well. And we can move on to the next slide. So we have had people throughout the years use the initiative as a more direct activation campaign within their network. I've got an example here of London Youth. So they took 3 approaches with Red January. One of them was that they linked it to their employee assistance scheme. They, in essence, encourage all of their staff to really engage with active travel. So on their way to work, they would walk, run, or cycle. And they would also celebrate those achievements and try and encourage people to be meeting up and doing that journey together as well, which was amazing to see. The next thing is they have 500 plus community youth organisations. They found that actually having a bit more of a competitive angle and hook was really engaging for those organisations. So they set them the challenge of recording how many steps they did and how many hours they were active for during January. They also tasked them with taking a photo of them being active and sharing what that Red January experience meant to them. And then they gave out some prizes and things like that for people that really went the extra mile with their Red January experience. The other thing they did as well is they do engage a lot with schools. So they visited their 2 outdoor education centres and they discussed that link between play and health, which is what we do when we go to schools. As we know, and I know there's a few schools on the call right now, and we don't go into schools and talk about kind of physical activity and things like that. It's much more play focused. And they went into those schools and talked about how Red January is an opportunity for you to really start playing every day, getting active with your peers as well. So it was brilliant to see how it was working on lots of different levels for London Youth. So hopefully that provides you a little bit of food for thought of what you could do within your own organisation. And we would love to hear any ideas that you've got on ways that we can support you with those ideas as well. We can go on to the next slide. So I'm sure we're all feeling the impact of the past few months. I certainly, I know my back, sitting like crunched over your laptop. Yeah, I'm definitely experiencing the impact of kind of sitting around and being crunched over your laptop and not having necessarily a good kind of desk setup and things like that. We do know as well from chatting to organisations that have taken part in Red January year on year, so the likes of PwC and HSBC, we've done some focus groups with them recently, really to understand the impact that Red January had on them, and also the impact of the last few months and how that's really affected their motivation levels in terms of getting active to support their mental health. It was really interesting. It provided lots of really rich insights into actually people feeling like they were lacking a little bit of motivation because they didn't have that team support around them. Also, they were finding that the work and the and the play lines were becoming really blurred, and people were just on all the time with their work, because they didn't have that kind of the 9 to 5 culture that you tend to get in the office space as well. So there's a real need for people to be starting to put back in place a bit more of a routine. And so our hope is that Red January provides a bit more structure for people to use it as an opportunity to start to reform those habits that they had formed early on in the year that might have, for whatever reason, got a bit lost during this time, understandably. Or for those people that have kept up that momentum, we can help kind of reboost them and perhaps give them another goal to work towards as part of Red January. So we are putting together at the moment a toolkit for employees that's been informed by the work that we've done by PwC and HSBC and Ordnance Survey. So it's really rich with insights in terms of what's worked for them as an organisation. They also very kindly populated a 31-day calendar to give you as an organisation some food for thought, really, on things that you could be doing to really energise and motivate your employees to kickstart their 2021 in a really positive way. And we're on to the next slide. Okay, the bit that you're probably all been waiting for. So we would love to be collaborating with you all. What an amazing thing it would be to be able to reach and empower more people to get active at a time when people really need us most. We would love to find ways to complement your work, support your objectives, and our hope is that the Red January campaign as it exists help you achieve just that. So ways that you can get involved. So our Register Your Interest for Red January 2021 is live. So that's already a thing that you can be engaging with, be spreading the word about. We'll email you after this actually with some supporting copy and an image, if that's helpful. So you can start getting that out there and really putting it on people's radar and giving them something to get really excited about and to warm up to. To support your communication out to your network as well, we've got some downloadable resources. These will be available from week commencing October 19th. It will include some posters, so a variety of posters, a calendar, which has proven to be one of our most popular resources, social media and e-newsletter assets, and example email copy as well. We recognise actually that it can be quite time consuming when you're engaging your network of partners and things like that with the likes of a Red. So we can do that work for you, and we can provide you with some templates. There'll also be tailored assets for workplaces and schools as well. And the official Red January 2021 registration link goes live on Monday, the 2nd of November. We would love for you to be sharing that link far and wide with your network. And as we described earlier, really engage your community of customers, users, other organisations and partners that you work with this campaign. And let's kickstart our year in a really positive way and turn January from blue to red. Thank you. That's it. That was a kind of a whistle-stop tour of Red January. I hope you're still here with us. And now it's over to you if you've got any questions.
Thank you, Hannah. That was brilliant. Is there anyone who would like to ask a question regarding Red January? You can pop them into the chat box or unmute yourself if you would like to do that. Okay, and we have a question. First question from Louise. Do you have any links with any community netball?
Community netball, we don't at the moment, actually. We did do a little bit of work with this year with the with England Netball, which was amazing. And I guess, as we described earlier, given the people that we're predominantly kind of focusing on, obviously females and things like that, it's proven to be a really engaging sport for that community. So we would love to be working with community netball organisations.
Brilliant, thank you. Next question is from Stephanie. Stephanie says, can you tell us more about the University of Oxford study?
Absolutely. So we're hoping to share more information in the next few weeks, actually. We're just getting some things approved with them at the moment. But hopefully what we've shared there gives a good indication of the work that we're doing in really starting to provide people with the tools that they need to start forming healthy habits. The work with the University of Oxford is going to be published in the coming weeks. So we'll be sure to let you know when that goes out, so you can take a good read of all the insights from there.
Brilliant, thank you. We have another question from Christine. Christine is asking, are the local minds aware and promoting this as part of the 5 ways to well-being?
Thank you for that. So our partnership with Mind came to a close in May of this year. It was an incredible partnership and one that we've learned lots from. We are, however, going to continue supporting Mind's work. So we're going to get in touch with local Minds in the coming weeks and really share with them what that can mean for them in terms of them engaging with Red January 2021.
Brilliant, thank you. We don't have any more questions coming in at this time, so I will take opportunity to ask my own question. So are there any case studies for workplaces that could link with the work you've mentioned previously about? Is there anything that could be shared?
Absolutely, yeah. So as part of the toolkit, we've got some really lovely case studies from organisations that have taken part. Very open and honest as well, which is, I'm sure, what we all want from this. So there are definitely case studies where people did struggle to get out of their lunch break or after work, and actually, as part of that, provided some tips that they could perhaps bring into next year to make it a much more kind of fruitful experience for them. But no, we can certainly share those as part of the toolkit as well, so you get a sense of how that's worked for employees.
Brilliant, amazing. Oh, another question from Louise. I coach walking netball and back to netball, and it really provides such an amazing opportunity for participants to get together and be active. We can chat further if you want to link up with the Hearts England netball officer.
Would love to, would absolutely love to. My email address is on the screen at the moment, so please send me an email, Louise. Would love to chat to you about how we can work together.
Thank you. And in general, with the campaign, Hannah, do you find that you've got equal coverage across the country, or are there some parts of the UK that engage better than others?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we do definitely have kind of hotspots around the UK, one of them being the Midlands. I don't know if that's because I'm a Midlands girl myself, but we also have a hotspot in Cumbria, and further up north as well, so in Scotland. We are looking at the moment, obviously, on how to re-engage those people, but also in terms of spreading awareness, how we can work with the different regions as well.
Brilliant, thank you. Are there any more questions for Hannah? We've still got some time. Okay, nothing else. It's coming in. So yeah, thank you very much, Hannah. That was brilliant. Thanks for joining us in for our first mental health conference. Everybody, if you would like to get in touch with Hannah directly about her work, her email address is on your screen at the moment, so please feel free to get in touch. And yeah, we'll guys see you soon. So thank you very much for joining us in.
Thank you.